And I think that means we're live. Yay. Hi, everyone. Hello.
All right, before we begin, we acknowledge that we are on unceded, stolen Wurundjeri, Woiwurrung and Bunurong land of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, including anyone here today. Thank you.
Very cool. All right, so the subject at hand today, we are going to be talking about what it's like to be an otherwise Black, brown, diverse cosplayer in this community. We're going to be going through lived experiences, things that don't often get talked about or just, haven't been seen in the public eye yet. To that end, I'm going to get my lovely fellow panelists to introduce themselves, and then I'll go after you guys, I guess.
Yeah. Next slide. That was the acknowledgement.
Wonderful. Great.
Next.
Sorry, y'all, we don't have a clicker today.
One more next slide. Thank you very much.
All right, there we go.
I'm first. All right. Well, hello. I am Maya. I am South African and proudly so. It's a great thing. Don't mind Elon Musk at the current moment. He does not speak for us.
Yep.
I've been cosplaying for a while now, since like 2019, which kind of hurts if I think about it too long. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to be talking about this stuff today.
Yay. Thank you.
Next, please.
Next is me. My name is B, and I am Zimbabwean and Ugandan. I have been cosplaying since the end of 2021, and I'm really excited to be here, especially with the amazing cosplayers. I think it's going to be an amazing conversation.
Next slide, please. It's me. I can't see. Okay. Hello, my name is Nikki. I'm Persian or Iranian. They're the same thing, actually. I don't use any pronouns, and I've been cosplaying since, I say 2016, but that's like the first convention I went to. I was like 8, so sometime then.
Nikki's a baby. Yeah. Oh my God, but we love.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Nyra. I am Singaporean, Chinese, and Mauritian. My pronouns are she, they. A fun fact about me is I share my birthday with Light Yagami from Death Note, which coincidentally happens to be the series that I did one of my first and worst cosplays in. Thank you very much.
Woo!
All right, so now that we've gotten to know one another a little bit, I'm so excited to get into the nitty-gritty. So before we start these really important conversations today, it's important enough for us to go through a little bit of terminology you may or may not be familiar with. So what do we mean by BIPOC? So BIPOC means Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. And we'll also be talking about AAVE, which stands for African American Vernacular English. So just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, we understand that some of this terminology is fluid and ever-changing. Just as identity and just as language is, these terminologies can be changing and definitions can be changing over time. However, rest assured that the terminology that's displayed on and the definitions that's displayed on the screen today was crafted with the advice of a Black person who is quite knowledgeable in the area, and we all have also input our own experiences into the crafting of this terminology. All right, so
there's going to be a lot of interconnectedness today. You'll find that a lot of we talk about tends to overlap. So just keep that in mind as you're listening.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we'll start off with our experiences proper. So just going ahead with a little bit of the agenda ahead. So we'll be talking about embracing culture in cosplay. We'll be talking about choosing characters, insecurities, and colorism, makeup trends, and embracing ethnic features, as well as self-acceptance. Right, so now starting off with our first topic of embracing culture in cosplay, we have the lovely B starting us with their experiences.
Hello, everyone. So for the embracing culture in cosplay, what I want to talk about is the more positive aspects of being able to incorporate your own culture in your cosplay. As a Black person, I have curly hair, and in a lot of my cosplays, I tend to incorporate my curly hair so that it makes me feel more so that I'm turning the character into me, and less so I'm 100% turning into the character. And that's how I take my cosplay. Everyone is very different, and I think that being able to express yourself and still using, even though the character doesn't originally have those characteristics, your own characteristics to feel more comfortable, it just makes you enjoy the cosplay more, makes you more comfortable, and it's made me really more comfortable. And in terms of my experiences at conventions, I always feel very welcomed. I know as some Black people feel you don't always be welcomed with like open arms, and that's because these people that are racist, people that don't understand you, don't want to understand you. And I think it's very important to understand that it's okay if people don't want to understand you, as long as you understand yourself. Surround yourself with people that understand you. That's all that matters. And I feel like I've had that going to conventions all over. I've been to some conventions in the UK, I've been to some here and in other places, and I think the ones in Australia are so welcoming and just so fun, and yeah, I really love it. That's my experience. What about you guys?
I mean, yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about this. So, a lot of my base experience with cosplay, it is kind of weird to me to be the darkest person in the room at any given point. And like, that's me. Y'all, I don't know how to break this to you. I'm like a lightly toasted, very gentle caramel macchiato shade of brown. Like, we're not breaking any boundaries here. I don't have any of that deep mocha goodness. And yet sometimes I'll be standing there, I'll be like, damn, y'all are out here fake tanning.
Just so relatable.
That's crazy. So sometimes it is a lonely path. Sometimes, I won't lie. I find myself standing in lineups and applying for things. And in the back of my mind, it's kind of present that, okay, if I take my shot here, if I put my foot in this store, I do so knowing that I will likely be the only black woman in that room. And that's just something that kind of, you know, it doesn't take away from my experience by any means. Sure, it sounds huge and kind of scary, but it's just one of those things that you kind of get used to shouldering, especially in a hobby where you might be considered a minority upon a minority. I understand that Melbourne has a very diverse group of cosplayers around. It's just not many of them happen to share the same background as me. And so a lot of where I find myself, these are some pale rooms, y'all. I'm not lying. I'm trying to find my way into them. But overall, yes, welcoming, very good, very positive. But at the same time, I always find myself wanting to see more. This is probably, this panel is likely, I think the first time. For the entire time I've been cosplaying, I've actually managed to surround myself with other cosplayers of color, of diverse background. And I love it. I am having a great time with this. It just kind of sucks that it took so long to get here.
Absolutely.
But
it's
we're
so
here,
nice.
we're here.
Yes, it's really nice to hear that we've had some really amazing positive experiences so far. Nikki, do you have anything to share?
I haven't experienced any overt racism or anything like that. It's just more so my internal awareness of who I am and where I am at all times. That's kind of where that comes up.
Yeah, well, like, I'm Persian. There's not many characters or shows, at least to my understanding, that have much of that culture other than Genshin. Ew, yeah, not that fun. Where they got everything correct. Like, there was all the food and architecture. Like, everything was, like, perfect except the skin color. Everyone was white. So, like, I did cosplay from it, and then I just felt wrong after a while. But, like, yeah, as you were saying before, like, it was so hard to find many people of color for this panel, actually, that not just available, but exist in NAM. So, yeah.
It was a bit of a small, like, oh crap, who do we know? Is there anyone we can reach out to? And then there was a moment where we thought there'd only be 3 of us, and we're like, who else is on deck at the moment?
Thank you,
In that regard,
Nyra.
it can be challenging.
All right, so maybe I can share a little bit more, considering that I'm probably the newest to this state and this country. I just moved here last year. I'm East Asian, so I'm not brown or black, but I think something that's really interesting is that through a lot of like emerging, like particularly Chinese media, that's become a lot more popular recently. It's allowed me to have more of an opportunity to reconnect with my culture because I see it like being elevated. For example, like Apothecary Diaries, things like that, becoming really popular and allowing me to connect with my culture on that level, and also find a lot of comfort in seeing how many other non-POC cosplayers and fans appreciate the culture and are willing to learn about it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one way that cosplay and, you know, this community has actually facilitated a cultural exchange as well. So, yeah. All right, so I know we have a lot to talk about today, so I want to keep things moving a little bit. Our next section is going to be about something that's pretty important, and it's about choosing characters while managing insecurities and colorism as well. And we have the lovely Nikki heading us with this today.
This is just, it seems like a lot, but it all comes together from like my personal experiences, because I've been sewing and like cosplaying since like primary school, and like without social media, without any like internet knowledge, I still thought I could only cosplay dark skinned characters, long black hair, dark skin. That's like what I was then. Like I without any like push from social media being racist at all, like I didn't have social media, I was still a kid, and I still thought that like I wasn't meant to like be colorful or anything, or like could break out of this boundary.
Which isn't the case at all. Yeah.
That's something that tripped me a lot in the beginning as well. In like 2019 through to about 2021, I totally wasn't sure if I could like broach characters that fell outside my own ethnicity. It was like a real internal debate with myself. And it does kind of force you to get like in a weird roundabout way question your own blackness, despite the fact that, you know, you're still gonna be you. You're just doing different stuff with cosplay. But it gets into your head a little bit, having the lingering idea around that, oh, okay, if you're going to step outside your box of characters that are over here that we designed for you, does it suddenly become weird once we step over here?
Yeah.
I think it's also really important what you said about like your blackness, because I feel like already being a black cosplayer, the African community, I'm going to talk specifically African community because I'm from Africa, I grew up there. It's very, I wouldn't say shunned upon, but they're gonna look at you left. You're doing what not a lot of African people are doing. You're dressing up as characters. Your parents mostly want you to be doctors or engineers and all this stuff. So it's very out of the norm, and it takes a lot of courage and also a lot of belief in yourself to do that. So yeah, within choosing characters, that's when you have that debate as well, within thinking, oh wait, am I actually just trying to be something I'm not, or this and that. But like I was saying before, when you're incorporating your own culture in these characters, you still have that tie to your culture. And I think that's what holds me down a lot.
Yeah. I think maybe my experiences is something a little bit different. As an East Asian cosplayer, you know, cosplay is really, really popular where I'm from. But something that I have noticed is that on the view of like insecurity, there is a lot of colorism amongst East Asian cosplayers. A lot of the beauty of being East Asian is that we are come from so many different tribes and areas, and it's a wealth of culture, and that's reflected in our skin, the variety of like the shades in our skin, right? But East Asian beauty standards have been historically towards having pale skin as the desired
very
thing.
Eurocentric.
It is very Eurocentric, and it's reflected in a lot of East Asian media, Japanese and Chinese media, Korean media, and that puts a lot of pressure onto cosplayers to achieve that. And it makes me really sad to see that like a lot of East Asian cosplayers feel the need to edit themselves paler or put on makeup to look paler than they really are, or that they feel inferior to white cosplayers who cosplay pale characters because of that. Yeah.
That is definitely a long internal struggle as well. Like, we'll touch probably more on this later, but the internal debate over, okay, well, if I am going to cosplay outside of my box here, am I whitewashing myself in a weird way? You know, if I wear a straight wig, am I like feeding into the beauty standards that already exist? It's a catalog, y'all. Damn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely like questioning yourself.
Absolutely. I think that there's a lot of beauty in being so diverse in cosplay, and the fact that like cosplay is self-expression, right? And that something that's really nice about cosplay is that no person's cosplay is exactly the same as any other person's, right? You all inject your own unique style, and B, you do that really, really well. Like when I see B's cosplay, I know that's a B cosplay.
Yeah.
Like you can tell, like she adds a little something to it that you know it's her, and she makes it her own. And I think that that's something that's really, really nice about cosplay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we should be moving on a little bit to the next part. So the next part is going to be about something that we touched a little bit on before, and that's makeup trends and embracing ethnic features. So I'll be sharing a little bit more about that. So I think we all kind of know as cosplayers that in the last couple years, cosplay makeup has kind of veered towards Douyin makeup. So it's really popular. Douyin is a Chinese app. It's like the Chinese variant of TikTok. It's also like kind of conflated with like Xiaohongshu.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is. It actually
It's a
is.
connectedness. There we go.
So it's makeup that's like based in Chinese makeup trends, and a lot of that exaggerates East Asian features and makes you look more dolly. But I think that it's wonderful that a lot of cosplayers that are non-Chinese are adapting Chinese makeup trends into their own makeup. But what is really important is to make sure that while you're doing so, you're not obscuring your own ethnic features, and you're also embracing your own ethnic features while doing it. It's really important to be mindful of why you're trying to be obscuring your ethnic features. Is it for the sake of accuracy? And if so, why is accuracy so important to you? When historically, for example, right, like if you're a non-East Asian person and you're exaggerating your eye shape to be elongated and slanted in a way that looks like monoliths, which is something that's associated with East Asians and something that has historically been mocked, there needs to be some consideration and understanding of why are you doing this, right? Like understanding the historical significance of that. What do you guys think?
For sure, cultural lines do exist for a reason. Asian fishing is for sure a thing. And it does happen. And I actually will speak on this as someone that did do makeup a couple times. I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong, by the way. I do makeup. I adapted it for myself. Like, I am aware of, again, that line that is there. I don't need to exaggerate any of my own features. What I have, I will use as the base. That's fine. That's, we don't need to go there. But what I will do is adapt certain elements. Because I have larger eyeballs, maybe I'm not going to focus so much on the outer corner aspect of my eyes. Instead, I'm going to choose to adapt that makeup in a way that suits my African features. And unfortunately, yes, that does make my eyes look scary huge, but it worked out okay. But it was really beneficial to have access to know how to do the Douyin makeup in the first place. The whole point of this is, like, we're not saying not to do it, but again, cultural lines, you got to be conscious of why you're doing it and how you execute it. Because honestly, most of it is okay. You just got to be respectful. Like, at the end of the day.
It's important to also recognize that we're trying to emulate fictional characters, right?
They're literally drawings.
They're literally drawings.
2D
There is no way you're going to look 100% like them. And cosplay is not an accuracy competition. And I think that the whole idea of IRL whoever is very problematic.
Like the whole canon thing.
Yeah, it is quite problematic. And it kind of like pits
accurate.
cosplayers against each other.
Because who does that center?
Especially if you belong to like an ethnicity that is not the character, because like why should we be comparing based on that? Right?
Yeah, like it's a compliment kind of, but what if you're not the same race or ethnicity? Then you're saying that they are that when they're not. They're just dressing up as it kind of, like the character, Like cosplaying Echo, I'm never actually going to look like him, but the Arcane has such strict contour and face shaping that I can try without crossing the line and actually being like offensive in any way. Just like what is comfortable and normal and just,
There's always a way to execute what it is you're wanting to achieve with your cosplay in a respectful means.
Absolutely.
It is always immediately obvious when someone has not read up on that sort of thing. That's how you end up with, like, let's say the inappropriate hair texture on a wig, and just among other things. Like, it's silly, and I feel weird to say it out loud, but at the same time, it's like, it's really, really clear when you've done your homework on that sort of thing.
That is a great
There's
point.
always a respectful way to engage with cosplaying a character that is not your own race. You just have to put the effort into it. And I think that's the bridge that gets missed quite frequently.
I think also at the end of the day, people have free will. People will do what they want. So whether or not what we speak about, some people will still go put face tape. People will still do blackface. People will still use different textures. That's still going to happen. But as a human race, with your own humanity, coming to this space to make it safe for yourself and others, it's just about educating yourself, knowing what offends people, also being open if someone tells you, this is offensive, not just being like, oh no, that's not it. Just open it. This person's from that culture. They know more than you do.
Absolutely. I think you've raised a really good point about the fact that it should be about open dialogue, and also, I don't know, I guess cosplay is something that is deeply personal, right, to each of us. We all have our different routes on cosplay, and these really important issues that trickle into it, the best way that we can really make sure that cosplay is an inclusive, safe space for everybody is through respectful dialogue and education. So if you see something and you're not really sure about it, or if you're feeling pressured to look a certain way, maybe just unpack that or have a conversation with somebody who belongs to that particular race or someone else, just to bounce ideas off.
And there's no stupid questions. And if anyone ever makes you feel like you're asking a stupid question, they're the problem and you're not. You're actually doing amazing work by even opening up the dialogue. So no stupid questions ever.
That is amazing. I think we've kind of touched a little bit on how we can really accept ourselves in cosplay. And I think our next section, which will be on self-acceptance, will really delve in a lot further into that. So we have Maya, who's going to be leading us here.
So I really wanted to bring this up mostly because I know that a lot of our subject matter is really heavy. We are dealing with themes of racism and complex interpersonal social factors. It's a whole lot. I instead wanted to take a minute to talk about how liberating it actually does feel to channel any element of myself, my culture, my inherent blackness into how I craft. I wasn't equipped to understand how to do that at first. When I started, I definitely wasn't experimenting as much with, shall we say, wig texture. And I would definitely over contour my nose and stuff because I was always a bit self-conscious about how that looks. But at the end of the day, and ironically this came from watching a lot of American cosplayers, specifically African American cosplayers, at some point it just clicked that stuff doesn't actually matter as much as I thought it did. No one's gonna, read me to filth because I chose to put extra texture in my wig, or that I don't wear contacts because, as we touched on before, as a lighter skinned brown girly, I feel if I wear contacts, I look like some kind of light skinned demon, and I really I don't love that. I think that's scary as hell. I literally put it in all my billbooks. I'm not wearing contacts. You don't want blue eyes on this face, okay? That's not what you want. That's not what I want. And originally I thought, holy shit, the accuracy, I would really crucify myself over this.
I'm actually the same,
Quite frequently. But at the end of the day, cosplay got more fun, more accessible and more interesting to me, and infinitely less draining when I decided, okay, maybe it's fine if I wear my hair out for this, and who cares if it's curly. Maybe it's okay if that character has straight hair, but I choose a textured wig. Maybe not my texture, but a texture. Because that, to me, feels more comfortable than just a straight wig. Sure, I'll straighten my hair, but again, it doesn't feel right. It don't sit right. So finding measures and smaller ways to not only accept my own features and myself within my craft, but then kind of pushing that a little further outward. So now we're looking at African textiles, and we're looking at incorporating sari fabric into things that I'm making, stuff that isn't necessarily too canon or 100% accurate, but is something that I want there and I want to be seen because I'm proud. I'm very proud of it. Does anyone else have anything to add? I'm sorry, I'm yapping.
I wanted to just bag on what you were saying. When you're talking about... Sorry. I wanted to bag on what you were saying. I forgot the specific point, but it made me think about just You know, when you do closet cosplays, sometimes you'll think, wait, is this canon? The whole conversation about canon coming up when you do a closet cosplay, or when you thrift your outfit, and it literally is exactly the character's cosplay, but it's just not bought off A's cosplay or something like that. There's times when I started cosplaying that I felt inaccurate, and I felt like, oh, this won't get enough likes, so oh, this won't be liked by people. And then when I posted it, that's when I got 1 million views. Literally. So it's not about posting for what you think people will think, but posting what you feel comfortable in, because people will literally say anything. When I say anything, I mean anything. I've been called absolutely the most horrible things, and I don't hold it against anyone, because you don't even know what they're going through in their life. People project 1,000% of the time. So don't take it personally. Do what you gotta do. Literally feel what you feel comfortable in, post that. Don't try to be accurate. Don't try and be that. If you feel comfortable being accurate and you really, like, it doesn't tax you, then do that. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your choice.
I think that that's a really good point that both of you have made about what is acceptance, right? Like by whose standards are you seeking acceptance from?
Yeah.
And it's really important to actually break that down. Like, what do you mean by accuracy? Like, whose validation am I trying to seek? Like, is it just my own? Is it other cosplayers? Is it people on the internet who are going to judge how accurate I am? And I think it's really important, like what Maya said. Damn.
Oh my God. Damn.
Shit.
Dragging these. Nah, I shouldn't.
Hey.
I'm not gonna hit
That's
you.
totally us.
You know what I. Give us a minute.
Don't worry, we're
like
wrapping
you.
up
Dragging
real
these-
soon.
Nah.
We're wrapping up
just yet.
real soon. Trust. Don't worry. We're leaving real soon.
Anyways, yes.
Anyway,
No,
yes.
stay mad. We're
So
still
just
talking
to
about
end
it.
off on that, yes. So defining self-acceptance for yourself is really important. Acceptance should be about being comfortable in your own skin in cosplay and actually loving what you're doing. If cosplay is causing you more stress because you're worried about what other people are going to think you look like, or your ability, or how much you resemble the character, then I think you really need to reevaluate your
100%.
relationship with cosplay.
Yeah.
That's something I'm actually doing right now. I think I don't even realize what kind of journey I'm on. I've been cosplaying for so long, but I feel like I'm doing it on other people's standards. A lot of people on this panel are very comfortable, and I'm still, I guess, younger and you're not old, I swear, but I just feel like this new era of cosplay is so strict and so dramatic, and I'm still trying to find out how I'm comfortable. Even this morning I was I just don't like how I look in this cosplay. I love this character, but I wish I could do it better. And I think that's just others projecting onto me, and I think I need to learn to accept myself even more. We're all still on that journey.
The
Absolutely.
lens of accuracy can be especially punishing to cosplayers of our kind. It sucks, but that's the way the game goes. And I don't choose the rules, that's just what it is.
Yeah,
And I find that when you internally crush yourself on top of this, fine-tooth comb that people are going to rake over what you make and what you do and how you are, it's just so much.
Yeah.
And the key to ignoring most of that for me just comes from the knowledge I can't really do anything about the fact that I'm like this. You're madder than me that I'm cosplaying and I've never had hate comments either, but I honestly rue the day I get them, because dude, why are you mad I'm Hatsune Miku? I'm living my life. Why are you mad I put curls in that wig? Hello?
Exactly.
It was more crimping effort on my account. I didn't
Literally.
I didn't have to do it. I just did.
Yeah.
And it made me
Yeah.
more comfortable, and you're oppressed. That's the thing. But is there anything else anyone wanted to add?
I think we've touched it pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
I think we should move on to the next part.
Next part, please.
So, we don't really have a lot of time left, but we still have a few more important things
We got
to talk
this.
about. Yeah.
Run it through.
So, I think something really important that we wanted to talk about is what cosplay conventions and platforms can actually do
Yeah.
in the realm of uplifting and platforming BIPOC cosplayers and content creators. And we want to acknowledge the fact that us even being here as a fully BIPOC panel is already a huge step.
Huge.
Because when have you seen a fully BIPOC panel
Yeah,
at any kind of convention?
Any
in the
Dedicated
indie
to liberating it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making it more
So
public.
us actually being here and taking up space is our effort to try to push for more of that, and we really
And
do
that's
want to
not a
see
read,
more of
by
this.
the way, on the other groups.
Yeah.
They're all
No,
doing
it is not.
fantastic.
It's absolutely
But we
not.
would
do
like
better,
to point
though.
out that out of everyone that would have presented today, out of all of them, how many of them were for people of our variety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
think
talking
on it.
about such important topics like this that are always
Yeah,
overthrown.
Absolutely. So I think like one, platforming. And
Platforming.
inviting BIPOC guests
Yes.
and creators to
100%.
even be present at these kind of subculture community conventions is really important.
Yeah.
The next thing would be just honestly listening to the concerns of your fellow BIPOC creators, cosplayers, fans, really, because their experiences, even though they might be different from your own, they're valid, and it's important to make sure that we all take up space.
Yes.
Anybody else
100%,
want
yes.
to add?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's you've said a lot, and also just moving with equity. You know, equity is very different from equality. It's about
Absolutely.
knowing where people are and knowing where others are, and pushing for everyone to be at the same place. You know.
So that might.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll delve a little bit into that because my day job circles around that. So equity kind of looks like what equality means is everybody gets like the same amount of like opportunities. What equity means is that different people with different existing levels of resources get different levels of resources to reach the same level.
Right.
So that
Yes.
means if you're a more marginalized person, you get more resources to be able to attain the same level of quality of life as others.
Yes. Very well. That's an amazing
That
explanation.
was a
Wow.
really good definition.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, so we don't really have a lot of time, but we'd like to open up the last few minutes to any people who might have any.
Well, first we want to do the shout outs.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
if there's
true.
absolutely
Let's do a shout
anything
out.
you're curious about, if there's something you wanted to know or haven't quite made sense
Right.
of, please feel free to ask us
Yeah.
any questions. The
But
floor
yeah,
is
these are
yours.
just
You
the
will get a
shout-outs.
lolly.
Yeah. we
Nikki's
would
gonna
also like
throw-
to, while we do the Q&As, just point out some of our incredible BIPOC cosplayers
Yes.
in the community and outside of this community.
Yes.
They're all incredible. They have such dedication to their crafts, and they
Yeah.
are outstanding models of BIPOC excellence. within-
Specifically, Heidi, she couldn't be here today.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, she had work or something. But she's an Indigenous cosplayer and probably one of the only, I think the only Indigenous cosplayer I know actually, like,
Yeah,
from
this
here.
is true.
And she basically wrote up so much of this because we planned to do the panel with her. But yeah.
Things
so-
just didn't pan out that
Absolutely.
way. So yeah, big shout out to her and
Absolutely.
also to
So-
everyone on screen.
Especially because of where we are in Australia and understanding our history,
Yes.
I think it's really important that we pay extra special attention to uplifting Indigenous voices and
Yes.
people in our community. Yeah.
There's some other Indigenous cosplayers on that list as well. Feel free to look at them. They're amazing people there. Now we'll be opening it up to questions.
And if no one has questions, we have a list of our own to ask.
Next slide,
But please
please.
ask questions. You'll get lollies, please. Please.
Next slide, please.
So it can be even something really silly if you want to ask us, like, what's our favorite cosplay? Yes.
What is the term what? Sorry?
Okay, so looking to the left. Okay,
Looking to the left. Like, look at you left? Oh.
it's like, okay, so the turn of phrase, again, deeply African, love this for us.
Yes.
Looking to your left is like, you ever seen somebody turn around and just kind of like, that's looking to the left. That
It's
is
like side
shade.
eye, basically. It's basically
Wait,
side eye.
oh, side
It's
eye.
literally
I
side
didn't
eye.
know
It's
this.
like,
Like racist?
Yeah, you know, you
Fine.
ever seen one of your aunties do this to you? You come in wearing an outfit that you thought you would be experimental with.
Yeah.
You come downstairs and she does this.
she's looking at your left.
That's
She's
looking
not
to
really
the
happy.
left. It doesn't always have to be the left. Your left,
Come
my
get your
left,
lolly.
doesn't matter.
Come get your lolly,
The point
thank
is she's
you.
looking at your skew.
Any other questions? Anyone? We're very friendly.
I've got some to pass the time. All right, let's see. What are we thinking?
Talk to me, Nikki. What do you got?
Are there characters you'd love to cosplay, but you feel like you can't?
Damn.
I'm gonna start with
one.
a real meaty question.
It's not so much that I feel like I can't, but I've seen other black people cosplay this very popular dark-skinned character, Casca from Guts. I mean, from Berserk. And I love Casca, my favorite character ever, but the people that cosplay her get the most vile comments on earth. And it's not so much so that I don't think I can cosplay her, but I feel like I would need to be at the mental strength to not care about the comments I'm gonna get from that. That's the only one I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta think about it. There's like a running list, and then the second you mentioned it, I just completely lost my train of thought.
It's okay, we got more questions.
Look, I'll be honest. I've been thinking about doing Marvel's Rival, a Marvel Rivals cosplay, but I think exclusively my cosplays are all the white women.
Right.
Like literally, they're all the white women, and I'm like, damn. I don't know if this is a self-read or if it's just a weird feeling that I'm getting just all on my own. But in my mind, I'm like, I may have to make some adaptions to that in order to feel good. But at the same time, it's like, I can't, there's no hate there. I'm just like, damn.
I think
Only
for
the
me,
white women?
oh, sorry. I think for me, like maybe this is like a little bit of a different answer, but I love Ada Wong, right? And I love a lot of
Ada.
like really gorgeous, sexy East Asian female cosplayers. But I think sometimes like it kind of deters me from cosplaying them because I don't want to typecast myself. Or I'm worried about like the kind of like fetishization that might come from them.
Yeah. Yes.
And so honestly, like I kind of strayed away from these kind of characters for a really long time because I was like kind of worried that I'm typecasting myself. But I think like it's kind of weird, right? It's paradoxical in a sense.
No, I get it. That's why I will probably never cosplay Storm, because that's the one thing everyone tells you to do when you're black and you're
literally,
cosplay. You should cosplay Storm.
Oh my God.
That's an original idea.
Storm and Yorichi.
Yeah.
Do Yorichi from Bleach. And I was like, no, I'm Orihime.
So, do we want to answer another question? Yeah? No?
We have 1 minute, so we do the
Well,
resources.
I can just speak for me, I guess, because I feel like I'm kind of a victim of this because, yes, I'm cosplaying a black character, but I do prefer some of my colored characters because of giving them, like, publicity. Like, being here at the Arcane meet, there was, like, one Echo and it was me. And then I saw two more, which was great, but, like, I'll do anything, but I think I do tend to lean, like, Echo is, like, my favorite character from Arcane anyways, but I just think that it also helps. Like, it's a different answer. Like, the positive side of it is that more people will see that these colorful characters can be cosplayed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're
'Cause that's the
they're
other
not just
thing.
eye candy. Yeah.
It can be intimidating to broach that, like from the other side looking in, how do I engage with that respectfully and that sort of thing. That's the intimidating thing. But like, you just got to do that.
Yeah.
Amazing. So does anybody else have any other questions? If
Last
not,
chance, yeah?
yes, we have one question.
Oh my God.
Can someone give her a mic, please?
Hi.
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 Do you avoid any colors, like with wigs or like clothes?
I love all the colors. I try all the colors.
Yeah, no,
Because I
great
feel
question.
like with my skin tone, some colors just make me look like I'm dead.
No, absolutely.
understand.
There are certain shades of blonde that I avoid because they're like platinum blonde and stuff. I mean, no tea, no shade.
I
And this is
understand.
absolutely not a read on Nikki in any way. Oh my God, I'm
love
so
the
sorry.
platinum on Nikki,
I've literally
guys.
never screened any thought I've ever had. But like when I was selecting peach wigs, I go with a darker blonde because I know I'm like, again, medium brown. Not intensely brown, medium brown. So if I wear a pale wig, it's gonna wash me out a little bit. I
Yeah.
avoid white wigs a lot of the time because they're like, it just brings out the wrong undertones in my skin, the same way makeup would. But for the most part, it's actually not that hard to choose the right wig, really. I don't avoid bright colors. I don't necessarily avoid certain lengths. As long as, like, you know what your undertones are, you know what will complement your face,
Yeah.
your shape, like the shape of your face.
Yeah.
It definitely depends
Yeah.
on like how you perceive the color because I feel like anyone can wear anything, but if certain tones don't look the greatest on you, like I'm studying color theory, some things just don't look that great by color, but it really just depends on what you like.
It depends on what you like, and also there's flexibility in cosplay, right? You can choose different undertones and things like that. Like there are 5 million shades of pink, right? Like a light pink.
I know.
And you can choose all the different like undertones that might suit you best as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so for
don't
like
be
this
afraid.
cosplay, there's another wig I had, a human wig that was more like a darker orange. Obviously, Orihime's color is this, and I was gonna do that color, but I just chose to this one because con crunching is real. So I just did this one. But either way, they would have looked both good on me because I thought that. So it's really about your self-concept in the on.
Yeah.
That's like the only
Good question,
reason
though.
that,
Thank you.
That
Does
was
that
the
answer
only-
your question?
Hey, here, come get a sweet. Come get a sweet, love.
Yeah.
Okay, does
wanna
anybody
catch
else
it?
have any other questions for us
Lively.
today?
Oh, it's okay.
Close.
Almost there. Score.
Any other questions for us today?
You
If
can
not,
tell us. Don't be shy. You got something you want to know?
We have our Instagrams. We linked our Instagrams.
Feel free to
DMs
message
open.
us.
Oh, yeah, damn. That's where you can find us on the internet.
Yes.
Oh yeah, true.
I also shared Amazon TikTok while doing the live stream, so I'll post that as well if you want to go watch that as well.
so if there are no other questions, we'd like to leave this panel with some really important resources
Yes.
that
Next
you might
slide,
like to take.
please. Thank you.
So we've got some info on Palestine right now because that is something very important that no one talks about.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot of links, but please just search them up. And like, you don't have to search up the link, just search up the name, it'll come up.
Yes.
Pay the rent. This is the soil you're on, you're living here.
Yes.
Definitely do anything you can, even if it's just sharing something on Instagram, it helps. And there's links for...
There's links for Congo, what's currently happening in Congo. There's a huge outbreak. Please check that out, and what's happening in Sudan. Let's make this world a peaceful place. We're here, we're having a great time. We want every human to have that opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you, everyone,
Thank
for
you
being
And thank you,
here.
TGX, for
Thank
fitting
you
us
so
in.
much,
Yeah.
TGX.
Thank
Love
you,
you guys.
everyone.
And if anyone wants the rest of the sweets, come through and get
Yeah,
some.
Come get
come
lollies.
get your treats. If nobody else wants them, we'll eat them.
Do you want to? Yes.